Hey, thanks for watching. I'm guessing my video's running. I'm trying to figure that out right now. Forgive me for still not knowing what I'm doing. Um, there we go. I started my stream before I had my YouTube channel ready to show me what was going on. So I'm not gonna be able to see the comments, I don't think, unless they pop up on my screen. I mostly wanted to get on here and just show you the rest of the steps. I did a video yesterday that showed me doing the removal of the paper for the transfer. So in a nutshell, what I've done is I've transferred ink from magazine pages. I've chose my colors and cut them out with a template on top of beeswax. So that yellowish tint of my painting is from the beeswax. And then the text, the color you see in the image is from magazine pages. And I mostly use Cigar Aficionado, Whiskey Advocate, and then occasionally I use Veranda and Architectural Digest. Those two used to be my go-tos. I slowly changed over to the Cigar Aficionado and Whiskey Advocate because the color is a little bit more vibrant. They have a lot more solid color, so I use a lot more text when I use those magazines. If I'm looking for more textures, like in fabrics and things like that, I go to Veranda and Architectural Digest. So yeah, it depends on the painting, what kind of textures I'm looking for, colors. It'll depend on what I use. Of course, in this piece, the image I'm creating is 16 panels. They're all 18 inches square, so this is one of 16. And it's basically this clown. It's called Clown Off the Clock. He's going to be holding a cigar and drinking a glass of whiskey. And it's a huge piece, a little over 6 feet square. So yeah, this is one of those panels. And then when Artfield's installation starts, which will be early April, I'm going to go there and live at the venue finish off the rest of these panels. And I'll do YouTube videos. Hopefully I'll have people come and watch and help share and spread the word about my work. And then, yeah, we'll see what happens. And the piece will be completed when Artfield's competition starts, which I think is the 26th or 28th of April. And it runs through the 4th of May. So, I'm going to go ahead and heat this up. As I told you yesterday, I take a heat gun and I fuse the ink into the beeswax. And then after I do that, I won't have to do a whole lot of detail because this image is so large. I more or less just want to do a few things to get highlights and maybe just some fine details, and I'll show you how to do that. And then of course the last thing I'll do is put a finish coat on it. And because of doing this live, I won't be able to spray it with resin, the Kamara resin I usually use. What I'm going to do is instead use a sealer that I have. It's an acrylic medium, and I can brush that over it, and it'll protect it, and it'll make the sheen more. I've gone blank on the word I wanted to use there. More uniform. That's it. So yeah, I'll hit it with that sealer, and that'll make it uniform. And then, of course, when I get a chance, it'll probably after Artfields is over, I'll take time and spray each panel with Kamara resin. And before I take this one, since this will be one that'll be completed, I may go ahead and spray it so those that go and see it live can see what it'll look like when it's completely done. So I gotta be careful doing this. The heat gun is forcing air down on top of that beeswax. And if I'm not careful and hold it in one spot too long, it gets hot and it'll blow the ink around. Believe me, I've done that a couple times. It's frustrating to spend all this time creating this and then just letting it melt away. So I want to hit it just enough to where I can see it. It kind of gets shiny from the beeswax melting. And then that'll let the ink fuse into it. And those little layers of ink are sitting on top of that beeswax. And once it gets to a certain temperature, you can see that section of ink. It's like a little towel floating around on water. If you see it moving, it means it's hot. Gotta move the gun around. Oh, and I guess let me put you down here where you can see what I'm doing. Got carried away there and forgot that I was going to show you this. Look here where you can see it there. I'm going to find an area over here so you can see it move around here in just a second. Alright, let's go over here. This negative area where it's just black. I don't know. You may not be able to tell. It's so far without zooming in. Yeah, this is an image that's going to be more realistic from a distance. Then when you get up closer to it, you'll be able to see all the nuances, the textures, the text, how the different colors come together. It's almost like a mosaic. I think I got her there. It's almost mosaic-like. I'm gonna let it cool for just a minute before I start carving into it because it's soft, and I don't want to carve too soon and take a chance of. I gotta get my camera right too. Hopefully you can see that better now. See the textures from the magazine ink, the text. Try to put a lot of color from advertising, logos and things like that from the magazines. There's people, occasionally you'll see a person or a figure or parts of a figure. Alright. Let me adjust the camera a little bit just so you get a little bit closer look. Closer's better. Hopefully it's not too close. And I'm watching this on my laptop, but it's on a delay, so when I do something I gotta wait and see if I've adjusted it right. That's probably a little close, so I'm gonna back up just a hair. That may be about right. Kind of a funny looking thing there on screen. Alright, so I'm going to move the painting over side. I'm going to lay some of the tools out. These are the kind of things I use to do what I'd say when I talk about carving into my painting. I use these sharp instruments. Some of them are really sharp for fine detail. Some have textures like this scraper with these teeth on it. If I want to get a highlighted area, I can scrape away color and reveal more of the background. That's how I get my highlights, because there's, you know, like on the face of this clown is white, so I transferred some texture from the magazine just to add some interest to it, but overall it's kind of yellow looking because it's just letting the beeswax show through that clear coat from the magazine. And of course I have these loop tools that are nice if I need to gouge out areas that are a little bit deeper, or if I have a negative area I want all the background to show. I don't do that as much anymore. I used to. Most of my paintings had the bare plywood showing in the background, so I would scrape away all the beeswax. The one I use the most is just this pointed thing here, awl I guess it's called. And if I need a little bit bigger gouge, this has got a little nub on the end of it. That's pretty nice. And then, you know, I use a little wooden stick sometimes, this little scoop thing. So there's my variety of tools. I'm going to start with the one I usually do, and that's this little pointed object. I like to not do too much off the bat. I think sometimes it's best to leave some of it abstracted. I just want to get a few things. The hair, for instance, doesn't take a whole lot of work, but I think it's good to have a little I don't know what you call it, just the inclination of that hair being there. So yeah, that's probably all I'll do right there. And then let's see, the ears over here, I'm just gonna kind of give it a little outline. Nothing much. The eye's probably the most important thing to have a little detail on, just because, you know, that's one thing we recognize or look at the most when we look at a figure or a person. Notice their eyes. And I'm using the original photo over here to the side as a reference. These little things like this are game changers when it comes to working on something like this. And I don't want to take away too much here, but I do like when the eye has a little more pop. That way when somebody looks at this from a distance, it'll look even more realistic. And it's so crude looking up front, up close. Once you get up to one of my paintings and look at it, you're like, oh wow, it's not what I envisioned when I stood back. So I'm real loose with my details. I won't get too worried about it being perfect. I like scribbling. So I'm gonna add a little bit of eyelash. And I'll turn this around here just a second so you can see kind of how it's changed. Hopefully it's changed for the better. Not always the case. And of course the nose has a little bit of a highlight on it, I'm noticing. And right now I have some text, so I'm going to try to work around that. Put the highlight just above it because I like seeing that text in the nose. Although it's right where, maybe if I go around it. And then just inside here we have a little bit lighter area. And working on something this large too, it's so different from what I normally do. The clown had a little stubbles, little growth from his beard. So I'm going to make sure I get a little bit of that texture in here. Don't do a whole lot. So it makes a bit of a difference when you stand back and look at one of the paintings to be able to see. Ooh. Trying to figure out where everything is here, where my highlights are. Here we go. And sometimes I just, instead of carving out a lot of area, I'll kind of do like a crosshatch. Just go across an area to get those highlights once I figure out where they are. course, after I get done doing this carving, I'm going to take the heat gun and then just kind of let everything sink back into itself. This is the hand over here. I'm just going to add a little highlight here on the knuckles. Seems like I made that a little dark. See, and the challenge will be making each panel about the same amount of detail. So when I'm doing this live, I'll be referencing those other panels and making sure they all have equal amounts of detail added to them. I like to just scribble in some things here and there. Overall, I think we're looking good. Okay, I'm going to turn it around so you can see it, and then I'll take the heat gun to it. Although I'm going to take a little more off here. I don't know why I put yellow up through there. I meant to do it in just that circle. So I'm going to scrape some of that away. It is a highlighted area, but it didn't need to be yellow. We'll take a wire tool or loop tool, kind of take off a little bit more of that. That'll actually be better. Okay. All right. Here you go. There's your little. Let the camera adjust. I'll hold it here for a second. Of course, I'm way up. Let's pull it this way and keep the glare off of it. See how much that little spot right there, it just makes such a difference, especially when this is going to be hanging on the wall. And I'm going to hold it up now so you can see it from a little bit of a distance. See how much more realistic it looks from a distance. When you get up close, it looks like these crude lines are all over this painting, and from a distance it almost looks like a photograph. Kind of cool seeing a piece this large. This will be my largest to date. So we'll hit it with the heat gun and see if there's anything else I want to share with you today. I can't think of nothing right now. I'll put you back down on it. I gotta be more careful now that I've carved into it. In those areas where it's carved, of course it's going to melt faster. But I like to hit it a little bit so that it kind of flattens out some. Gotta be careful not to do it too much though, because then the color of the ink around it will sink into those spots where I took it away, and it ends up darkening the area. So just enough to make it work. And if this was a single painting, last thing I'd do right here is put my RLP in it. But since this is a part of a larger piece, I'll save the RLP for while I'm at the venue. So there you go. Hold it up again. Yeah, I like it. I can't wait to see it with the rest of the panels up on the wall. You know, when I first get there, they're all going to be these panels covered in paper, and I'll pull one off the wall, sand it, rub the paper away like I did yesterday. It'll end up looking like this. I'll finish it and I'll replace it and I'll pull another one down. Now, my original plan was to do 4 or 5 days, but I think I can do this in probably 2, 3 at the most. So I'll be there that amount of time doing a live demo. And like I said, my plan is to go ahead and bring my setup, have my camera running, do live videos on YouTube, maybe share some on Facebook and Instagram too. But there you go. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I didn't bore you. And I'll be back with updates. I'm going to probably work on some other things, and I'll try to share those live and get better to set up so I don't screw up every time I do this. But thanks again. We'll see you next time.